Bethesda Lutheran Homes and Services Incorporated provides support and services to people with developmental disabilities. We offer resources worldwide and support programs in 5 regions east of the Rockies. If a fire broke out today, would you know what to do? Would the people you support know how to respond? These 2 important questions deserve our attention since survival in a fire may depend upon our ability to properly answer them. To answer these questions, we must first understand the elements of fire. In order for fire to exist, 3 elements must be present. These elements are fuel, heat, and oxygen. The fuel source can be anything that will burn. This may be wood for a campfire, grease in a frying pan, gasoline in a lawnmower, or anything else that burns. The second element that must be present for fire to exist is heat. Combustible materials ignite when heat is introduced if fuel and oxygen are already present. Heat can be introduced in many ways. Sometimes this is done intentionally, such as using a lighter to start a campfire. Sometimes it is not planned, when lightning strikes or an electrical appliance overheats. The last element of fire is oxygen. Oxygen is, of course, all around us. By fanning a flame, you increase the oxygen for that fire and encourage it to burn. If any one of these elements is missing, fire cannot exist. To put out a fire, we must remove one of these elements. Heat is removed by applying something to the fire that reduces heat. Although not the only one, water is the most common cooling agent. Water may be applied as a solid stream or a fine spray. In some fires, it may not be safe to use water. Then you'll need to remove one of the other fire elements. The most common element to remove in this case is the oxygen. For example, if you have a grease fire, you don't want to use water to extinguish it, as that will spread the fire. If the fire is contained in a frying pan, simply slide the lid onto the pan. This removes the oxygen and the fire will go out. The carbon dioxide in some types of extinguishers blankets the fire and prevents it from receiving oxygen. The most difficult and often dangerous element to try and remove is the fuel. In a home setting, this is often not an option for extinguishing a fire. Within the home, there are ways to prevent these 3 elements from coming together. That is the essence of fire prevention. A leading cause of fires in residential homes is electrical. Often these fires start because outlets are overloaded. Outlets should never look like this. When outlets are overloaded, the cords, outlet, and internal wiring may overheat and ignite the materials around them. If additional outlets are needed, use surge strips that will turn off in case of electrical overload. These surge strips have a circuit breaker built into them. When purchasing surge strips, look for this important feature. Frayed or cracked electrical cords may also lead to fire. Regular inspections should be made of all cords. If you find cracks or frays, don't use them.
We're going to make sure that this light bulb is the right one for this one, okay?
When replacing light bulbs, use only bulbs with the correct wattage for the fixture. This information is usually written somewhere on the lamp. Compare that information to the information on the light bulb.
60 watts.
51.
Right, so now we'll look right here. It says, or smaller, 150 watt or smaller lamp, so
Yeah.
we're okay.
If the light bulb's wattage is higher than the lamp indicates, don't use it. Instead, find a bulb that is appropriate for the lamp. Keep things away from heating sources. As you walk around the house, look for things that may have become misplaced or are now in contact with heating sources.
Oh, Danita, this lampshade is a fire hazard. Can you help me straighten it, please?
Remove them before they have a chance to catch on fire.
Thanks.
This lampshade almost caused a fire when the lamp was turned on because the shade was crooked and no one stopped to adjust it. Fires often start in clothes dryers. Every time a dryer is used, the lint trap should be cleaned. Regular cleaning of the dryer vent should also be done, as lint can accumulate in it and cause a fire. The most common cause of residential fires is smoking materials. Smoking materials should be disposed of in proper containers, whether inside or outside of the home. If you work in a smoke-free environment and you must go outside to smoke, remember to dispose of smoking materials safely. Don't drop them on the ground, as leaves or other materials may ignite. Your first goal is always fire prevention. But when your best efforts to prevent fire fail, your next line of defense is a good warning system, like smoke detectors and suppression systems. Suppression means to contain or control the fire. You can do that with things like sprinkler systems or fire extinguishers. One of the best warning systems available is a smoke detector. Depending on the regulations where you work, the smoke detectors may be battery-operated systems, or they may be tied into the electrical system. Some smoke detectors will be interconnected so that if one goes off, all the others will also go off. Some will be stand-alone models so that only the detector that's activated will sound. In either case, it's important that smoke detectors are tested, cleaned, and replaced according to the manufacturer's recommendations. If they operate on batteries, the batteries need to be replaced as soon as they indicate that the battery is low or on a routine schedule. Heat detectors are used in conjunction with smoke detectors. Heat detectors are activated when a predetermined temperature is reached or when the temperature increases rapidly. Sprinklers are the most reliable protection devices in fire management. According to the National Fire Protection Association, sprinklers typically reduce property loss by 1/2 to 2/3 and help save lives. If trapped in a building that has sprinklers, one of the best places to wait for help to arrive is by a sprinkler. Another way to slow the spread of fire is by closing doors. When a fire alarm sounds and you're assisting with evacuation, close all doors as you leave a room. Closed doors will not totally stop a fire from spreading to other areas, but they will slow down the spread of fire. For a small fire, you may want to attempt to extinguish it. Only attempt to extinguish a fire if people are not in danger. Your first priority should always be the safety of people. Most extinguishers you'll find in a home will be the A, B, C extinguishers like this one. Fire extinguishers are classified according to the type of materials they will extinguish. A-class extinguishers are used on common combustibles such as wood and paper. B-class extinguishers are for flammable liquids, and C-class extinguishers are for electrical equipment. Most of the extinguishers you'll encounter will be the multi-purpose ABC extinguishers. ABC extinguishers are designed for use on almost any home fire. In order for them to work effectively, you must know how to use them correctly. Whenever you use a fire extinguisher, remember the pass method. P is for pull. You need to pull the pin on the handle. A stands for aim. When using an extinguisher, it is important that you aim it at the base of the flames. The first S is squeeze. Squeeze the handle to release the extinguishing agent. The last S is sweep. Sweep across the base of the flames. In order for an extinguisher to be effective, all of these steps must be followed. If you choose to use an extinguisher, there are several other rules you should keep in mind. Use only one extinguisher. Most extinguishers will only last from 15 to 40 seconds. If the fire isn't out after it's empty, leave the scene and wait for professional help to arrive. Always maintain a way of escape. If the fire starts to spread, or if your way out may become blocked, leave. Your primary concern during a fire is the safety of everyone in the home. This includes the people you support, staff, and visitors. Follow these steps as you evacuate during a fire. First, rescue anyone in immediate danger. Anyone that is in close proximity to the fire should be moved to a safer location. Next, isolate the fire. Do this by closing doors as you leave the area. Sound the alarm. Go to the nearest fire alarm box and activate it. If your home doesn't have an alarm system, tell people there's a fire. Begin to evacuate people from the building. Direct people to go to the meeting spot. This spot should be well lit and in an area that will not interfere with firefighters. Make sure the meeting spot is away from the building and is something that won't move. Once someone is outside of the building, they should notify the fire department. They may need to go to a neighbor's home to do this.
The phone's on fire. Can I use the phone?
Sure, go ahead.
Don't call the fire department from inside of a burning building. Get everyone out of the building. Once you have reached the meeting spot, ensure that everyone's there. Having a designated meeting spot helps you to accurately determine if everyone has safely evacuated the building. Remember that the safety of people is your main priority. Saving property or records should be left to the firefighters. One of the best ways to ensure the safety of people in a fire is by planning what you would do in a real fire and then practicing that plan. As you develop and practice your evacuation plans, you'll also need to determine the best order in which to relocate people. In some cases, you may support people with varying abilities to move quickly or to move independently. In order to evacuate the greatest number of people in the shortest possible time, prioritize your effort in this order. Remember, your first priority is to move people out of immediate danger. Your next priority is the evacuation of people most able to leave quickly. This would include individuals who can walk independently or walk well with assistive devices. By assisting these people to leave first, you will clear the way for people needing more assistance, and they won't get trapped behind those who can't get out on their own. People who use wheelchairs should be evacuated next. The last people evacuated are those who require a great amount of assistance. This could include people who usually use a wheelchair but are not in it at the time of the drill. Remember, your goal is to assist the greatest number of people to evacuate in the shortest possible time. Fire drills help to teach people the procedures that are part of a fire safety plan. They also help to evaluate the skills of people you support and the staff that assist them. There are many types of fire drills that may be done. The regulations under which you operate may dictate the type of drill you use, how often they occur, and the time frame for conducting them. For instance, do they happen during the day or at night? However, whether regulations require it or not, drills should be conducted on a regular basis in order to teach the skills needed to evacuate in the event of a fire. There are several different types of drills. Each drill has strengths and weaknesses. If your fire alarm system is connected to a monitoring agency or to the fire department, you must notify them prior to conducting a drill. The most common type of drill you will conduct is a surprise drill. Surprise drills are one of the best ways to evaluate how people will respond in a real fire. No prior announcement is made before it begins. During this type of drill, you activate the alarm and then follow your evacuation procedures. Observe what is happening during the drill. This is a good indicator of what would happen in the event of a real fire. Watch for things like people not getting up to leave, not using the closest exit, or searching for something that they must have before they will leave. These observations should be noted on your fire drill documentation. Although a surprise drill will help you identify how well people know the fire evacuation procedures, it may make people complacent when they hear an alarm. In time, they begin to think, oh, it's just a drill. I don't have to leave, or I don't have to hurry. Announced drills help you to review or teach fire drill procedures prior to conducting the drill. People are then informed that a drill will take place shortly. Announced drills work well following a teaching session. They also can be used when helping to correct problems that were identified in a surprise drill. Because everyone knows about the drill in advance, however, they don't accurately represent what would happen in a real fire. When someone moves into a new home, you can help them to learn fire evacuation procedures by conducting a walk-through drill. Walk-through drills teach people where to go and what to do during a drill. Like announced drills, walk-through drills don't allow you to evaluate how someone would respond in a real fire. The last type of drill we will discuss is a full response drill. Full response drills are conducted with your local fire department. They are similar to a surprise drill, except that the fire department responds as well. This type of drill must be prearranged with your fire department. The sights and sounds of a fire may be unfamiliar to the people you support. A full response drill helps people become familiar with these events. It also provides the fire department with an opportunity to see exactly how your home is arranged and to meet the people that live there. This type of drill is one of the best ways to evaluate responses to fire situations. When you're conducting surprise, announced, or full response drills, keep these things in mind. Don't give cues. The sounding of the alarm should be the cue that tells people to leave. If you give other cues, such as, "That's the fire alarm, let's leave," you have taught people to respond to your verbal cue rather than to the alarm. Practice exactly what you would expect during a fire. Even if the weather is less than desirable, people should still go all the way to the meeting spot. What people practice during a drill is what they will do in an emergency. Conduct drills during all activities and times of the day. You will never know how someone will respond while they're engaged in an activity unless you conduct a drill during that time. For instance, will everyone leave if they're in the middle of dinner? Will they wake up if the drill happens at 2 o'clock in the morning? Block exits. When you conduct drills, block exit routes from time to time so that people learn how to get out of the building even if they can't use the door that they prefer to use. You may want to have a sign that people recognize as a fire for practicing this. Finally, all alarm warnings are drills. Sometimes the alarm system will be activated accidentally. Maybe someone burned toast and set off the alarm. Use this accidental alarm as a drill. If you fail to respond to the alarm, you are teaching that not all alarms need to be taken seriously, and this type of indecision could have serious implications in a fire. Most people will experience a fire at some time in their life. With careful planning and preparation, you and the people you support can be ready to handle it. Fire can happen at any time. If one broke out today, would you and the people you support know what to do?